Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Are we ready, Gavin?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. It's the Planning Commission meeting of Wednesday, March 3rd, 6 o'clock. So can we please call roll?
Commissioner Hardy,
Present, thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Here.
Commissioner Vang,
Here.
Commissioner Kreiner, Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
and Chair Bray.
Here. Okay, so we'll now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have our flag, Gavin. Okay, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll read the procedures now. While emergency order number 2020-12 is in effect, City of Fresno public meetings will be conducted electronically and telephonically only. As such, this meeting is being conducted electronically and telephonically. The public may participate in tonight's meeting by using the Zoom link or calling the phone number provided on the Planning Commission agenda. Please note that all participants will be on mute until they're called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted. If you are a member of the public and would like to comment on an item, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, or if you're calling in, dial *9. To avoid confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called by the chair before raising your hand or dialing *9. For each matter considered by the commission, there will be first a staff presentation, followed by a presentation from the project applicant. Testimony from supporters of the project will then be taken, followed by testimony from those in opposition. The applicant will have the right to a final rebuttal presentation prior to closing the public hearing. In accordance with Section 13 of Article 2 of the Planning Commission Rules and Regulations governing the length of public debate, all public testimony from those in support and in opposition of the project will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Any testimony referencing race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, or any other classification protected under state or federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and not to be considered by the commission in making its land use determinations. If you challenge these land use matters in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised in oral or written testimony or before the close of the hearing. So we'll start today with the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
None.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any changes?
No.
Okay, the consent calendar, there is a request that we'll approve in a minute. And so is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Commissioner Diaz. Can we have a
Second.
Second.
Was that a second by Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Can we please take the vote?
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreiner,
Yes.
and Commissioner Diaz
Yes.
and Chair Bray.
Yes. Okay, so that's passed. We do have approval minutes from our regular meeting on December 16th. Does anyone, I believe we did make a change to those, that's why they're back. But does anyone have any other changes on those? If not, can I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
So we have a motion to approve by Commissioner McKenzie, seconded by, Commissioner Diaz. So can we take a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Hardy,
Gavin, can you tell if he's still on?
He is, and if you open your participants list, you'll be able to see everybody that's on as well.
Right. So Commissioner Hardy? He is on mute.
we can come back around.
Okay, come back to him.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreiner,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Chair Bray.
Yes, I probably should have done these together because we have a second set of minutes from February 3rd. Can I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve. I guess I thought my motion was for both sets of minutes. Motion to approve the minutes from
Okay,
February
I'm
3rd.
sorry. Yeah, can we have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, so we have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hardy, come back around. Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreiner,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Chair Bray.
Yes. Okay, do we have any reports by commissioners? Okay, so we'll move on to our new matters. The first one being the election of the vice chair. And I'd like to nominate Commissioner Hardy. Can I have a second for that?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kreiner. So can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hardy,
He seems to have gotten off somehow.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreiner,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
and Chair Bray.
Yes. Okay, so we'll now move on to ID 21-237, which is consideration of planned amendment application number P20-03758 and related environmental finding filed by the development director pertaining to 16.63 miles of bikeways within the city of Fresno. We have a staff presentation, please.
We do. I will share my screen. Everybody see and hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Chair Bray, fellow planning commissioners. My name is Drew Wilson with the Planning and Development Department. I'm speaking to you today about the plan amendment to 4 plans, all covering the same changes. This is to reclassify 16.6 miles of bikeways in order to qualify for grant funds that will allow for the bikeways to be installed. Those plans include the active transportation plan, the downtown neighborhoods community plan, the Fulton corridor specific plan, and the Tower District specific plan. My presentation will include a background on bicycle facilities, followed by the proposed changes to all the plans, and lastly, a recommendation. I will now review the different bicycle facilities that make up Fresno's bike network. This slide showcases the level of separation from vehicle traffic for all facilities. I will be reviewing with class 3 being the least separated there on your left, and class 1 being the most separated on your right. The first facility I'm covering is going to be the class 3 bike routes. These are designated routes for bicyclists. They're shared travel lanes with automobiles. This fills in the gaps in networks where other bicycle lanes or paths may not be feasible or appropriate. And these are commonly found on local and collector streets. The next bikes facility is class 2 bike lanes. These are designated lanes for bicyclists. These are separated from automobiles. They can have a single lane spacing or a few feet of buffered space. And these lanes are commonly found on arterials and collectors. The next is the class 4 separated bikeway. This is also called a cycle tract or a protected bike lane. This is a fully protected, dedicated space for bicyclists in the roadway. This is separated from both automobiles and pedestrians. Also commonly found on arterials and collectors. Lastly, this is the class 1 bike path. These are completely separated pathways for bicycles and pedestrians. These pathways have minimal interactions with automobiles, which only occur at required street crossings. I will now review the proposed updates to the 4 plans and a brief review of all the plan exhibits. This should only take about 45 minutes. It's a complete joke.
We knew.
These tables, which were provided with the staff report, identify all the proposed changes to the exhibits and the proposed changes to the planned bicycle classifications for all the plans. All of these changes are intended to provide a safe network for bicycle riders throughout Fresno. I'm now going to review the exhibits for each one of the plans. First, the first set of maps are for the proposed changes to the active transportation plan, with the Palm Avenue being the longest proposed change here. You can see it starts up at Knees and goes all the way down. We'll see it in the other slides. This map shows the proposed changes on Maple near Gettysburg, one of the smaller sections. And this final map of the from the active transportation plan shows the majority of the proposed changes, several of which you can see occur downtown. So in order to maintain consistency, the exhibits for the downtown neighborhood community plan, which are shown here, are also proposed to be changed. You can see this matches and mirrors what was in the previous slide. This also mimics what's in the coming slide. So this is also true for the Fulton corridor specific plan, and you can see the proposed changes here. In both the downtown neighborhoods community plan and the Fulton corridor specific plan, there's a proposed addition of a street section for a class 4 protected bikeway shown here. So this would be an addition to the plans. And lastly, and also for consistency, a proposed update to the Tower District specific plan, which is shown here. An environmental assessment was completed, which included an addendum to the mitigated negative declaration for the active transportation plan and to the EIRs for the downtown plans, as well as the Tower District specific plan. The plan amendments were approved by all of the active districts and design review committees. They were posted in the Fresno Bee on February 19th, and no public comment has been received to date. Staff recommends approval of the plan amendment, which includes the reclassification of 16.6 miles of linear bikeways in the 4 plans listed. And if you guys would like, I do have a song and dance routine planned.
I would like to see that.
I don't think anybody would like to see that, Chair.
Oh, come on, it's okay. There's lots of good bike songs.
And we're here for questions.
So I have a question. When would this all be phased in? Because I've always known that along Palm Avenue that was planned, but I did notice that from Shaw to Shields, they just totally repaved it and put all new lines in and everything. So are they going to go back and change that all? And when is that all going to happen?
I'll ask Jill to answer that question.
Yes, good evening. I'm Jill Gormley, I'm Traffic Operations and Planning Manager. So the changes that we have are all active projects or somewhere in process, whether they be in design or some that actually have been installed. If you notice downtown on our street, we did put in a class 4 in the last month. So it just depends on where they are in the various stages of the project schedules. They could be as soon as maybe in the spring or in the summer. For some of them, I'm thinking of Maple Avenue up off between Shaw and Gettysburg, and some of them will take a little bit longer to construct.
Okay, I was just curious because it had just been restriped, so I wondered how that would work. Do any other commissioners have questions for staff?
I do. I have a question. I would like to know how the streets or the avenues or the neighborhoods, how is it that these particular streets were selected throughout the city?
So these, when we actually did the active transportation plan back in 2017, we identified a lot of class 2 bike lanes as referenced by the purple lines on the map that Drew had shown before. Those are fairly easy to put into on the roadways, similar to the question about the restriping on Shields. If there's right of way available, we can easily go in there and restripe those. The class 4s are a little bit harder to do because there is limited right of way. So when we did the ATP, we put in a clause that said any of these class 2 have the potential to be a class 4. We just don't know that. As last few years, we've had some projects come up and we've found these corridors that are suitable for class 4 that we are able to construct them on, and have actually got funding for them. So the ones that are shown have funding with them. They're actual real projects that we have in the pipeline. We will be updating our active transportation plan probably in the next few years. We're looking for funding to do that right now. And we will have the opportunity to go back in throughout the city and look for areas that might be able to have more class 4s.
Thank you.
I had a question. Did you guys have a lot of subgroups helping create this?
So with the active transportation plan, yes, we did have quite a bit of public outreach back in 2017 for the plan. Every time we go after grant funding for projects for active transportation, we do have council meetings. We do meet with our bicycle and pedestrian advisory group. We do talk with the advocacy groups on different grant projects and get support for them. So yes, we have had different groups participate in these actual grant projects.
That's great. I think this presentation and this bike is pretty efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions or comments?
I would like to ask a question, and maybe it doesn't pertain much to this, but I would like to know where Chinatown falls within this. I feel like perhaps I am thinking that Chinatown would be wonderful and a great benefit to Chinatown. So I would just like to ask, how is it that Chinatown is not included in this project?
Right now, Chinatown, we do have a lot of projects kind of in the planning stages and that we have been talking about, mostly because of the high-speed rail coming into the area. And so there is a lot of bicycle planning and pedestrian planning that is happening that might not be reflected on this map right now, and that may be more reflected when we do the actual wholesale update to the ATP. As I mentioned before, these are projects that we have the grant funding ready to go, or we actually already have received it, and we're just trying to reconcile those projects and the maps to make them match each other. So we do recognize that there's a lot of planning to happen in downtown, and we are working on that.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, it sounds like we all think this is a wonderful idea. So can I get a motion to, well, wait, I forgot about the whole public thing. Is there anyone here from the public in favor of this project?
Got Sally Lewis. Sally, you've been allowed to unmute yourself. And I believe you'll have 3 minutes if I'm not incorrect.
Okay, thank you for listening. I am Sally Lewis. I live in the neighborhood between Palm and Van Ness Boulevard. And I'm wondering why there's already a bike lane, first of all, on Van Ness, and it goes all the way to the underpass, going right into Old Fig. Why aren't they extending that? I know that's County Island, but can't the city and the county work together on this? Because there's a lot of people, if you drive, and it seems like, Kathy, like you must go up and down Palm. You can see a lot of driveways backing out onto Palm. What's going to happen with this bike lane? I mean, I have to tell you, I walk in the neighborhood. I've been walking in that neighborhood for over 70 years. There's not enough bicycle traffic on any of those streets to warrant this expenditure at this time. So what I'm wondering, if this all has to do with air pollution, which Ms. Soria's office said it was regarding, why don't they go for the underpasses and things like that, like they did out on Shaw in the 90s? That underpass on Shaw between Van Ness and Marks, that was a terrible railroad crossing. Why don't they do something like that for these bike people? And out on Shepherd, it didn't take any time at all after that horrible accident where a child lost his life that they got that bike underpass done. Why are you doing this to our neighborhood? You know, there's a lot of people here, a lot of us that, you know, use Palm every day. Students at Fresno City College, Fresno High School, the parents taking children to the daily elementary charter school. That traffic is going to be backed up. I don't know how familiar any of you are, or how. And when I was on commissions down there at City Hall, I did my due diligence, and I went and looked at projects and saw how they worked before I did anything. And I don't know if you've all looked at this, but there's areas on Palm where it doesn't make sense. Has anybody bothered to look at this? And can't this money, it's a grant. Is it a grant that says you can only use it for a bike lane? Or is it a grant that's for air pollution? Or what's the grant for? What does it say it's for? Can anybody answer?
So is there anyone else in favor, of the project? This section is for people in favor of the project.
There are no hands up.
Okay, so we'll go back to people in opposition, and when we're done, maybe staff can answer some of the questions like Mrs. Lewis just asked when everyone has spoken. Will that work better? So anyone else in opposition?
There are no hands up.
Okay, so Jill, can you answer Sally Lewis's question about the funds, if they are specifically for bike paths? I believe that's what she asked.
Sure. So the grant application that we did submit was specific to, it was for active transportation projects, which include bike and pedestrian walking type of projects. The grant application that we did submit was specific to constructing class 4 facilities on Palm Avenue and on Belmont. We did analyze traffic operations with and without the bike facilities, and where there will be a little bit of a shift in or change in delay, it's not going to be something that is overly burdened on vehicle traffic. You may have to wait a little bit longer, but it didn't fall below levels that we thought would impact traffic to a degree that it would warrant not going forward with the project. We also do work with the county in all of our bike planning, especially when the two jurisdictions crisscross like they do in the Palm area. The unfortunate part of that is that we have different standards on how we build things in the city and in the county. And so we continue to work with them to try to make the best network for bicyclists that we can, given the differences in how we build and maintain the facilities.
Okay, thank you. So seeing no other hands raised in opposition, we will go ahead and close this hearing. So do I have any comments from any of the commissioners?
Chair, I would like to make a motion
Okay,
to accept staff's recommendations to send it off to city council.
thank you. Can we have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Hardy with a second from Commissioner Diaz. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreiner,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
and Chair Bray.
Yes. So continued matters, we're continuing ID 21319 to March 17th. So I guess that's it for this evening. Unless, turn my page. Do we have a report from the secretary?
Good evening, members of the commission. I'd just like to remind you, Mike Sanchez's office sent out a request for those who would be interested in the California League of Cities Planning Commissioners training. Please respond to him this week so that he can make those arrangements. If you are interested or not interested, so that we know how many reservations to make for that online training. We do not have any other reports from my office, unless, Mike, do you have anything else? Nope. So that is all we have tonight.
And I would encourage, if someone hasn't done that, I did it when I first started and it was in person, so that was nice. But it was very helpful to me and I learned a lot from it. So it's a good thing to do. So we'll move to unscheduled oral communications. If you're a member of the public and would like to comment, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, or if you're calling in, dial *9 and you will have 3 minutes. Do we have any hands up, Gavin?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we are adjourning the meeting at 6:28. And I forgot, Commissioner Hardy, you are the vice chair. I think you were off when we took that vote.
Yeah, sorry, I lost connection and
Yeah, I
had a,
figured that was it. So,
oh, great.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, well, everyone have a nice evening, and I want to thank staff for the presentation, all the hard work on this plan, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.